Oh dear, so many rules, so many tables, all these cases. Russian grammar is so hard. No, I can't bear this anymore. I give up. No, 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 no. That's not the way to go about learning Russian grammar. In this video, I'll show you how to learn Russian cases in a much more effective and easy way. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome to Call to TV and to our online program, Let's Speak Russian. This is lesson 41. So we're back to grammar. In this video, we're going to look at cases. And as promised, I will show you quite an effective technique to learn cases. That's not simply memorizing tables. I'll show you that towards the end of the video, once we've done all the content. So first of all, in relation to declining nouns, just as a bit of a reminder, a few bits of information. As you know, case affects nouns and any of their determiners. So that's adjectives, personal pronouns, but not adverbs and not verbs. Changing a noun depending on case is called declension. This is the idea of transforming this noun in some way so that then we know that it is in a certain case. Usually we change the ending, so that's the last letter or the last few letters of the noun. They are the ones that differ from case to case. Remember that Russian nouns have their own gender, masculine, feminine, or neuter, and we can also say that we have many of these nouns. We can start pluralizing them. This means that there is a declension for each gender and for both singular and plural nouns. As you can guess, there are many rules and several tables for declension. There's no need to memorize them though, unless you really want to, of course. There's nothing wrong with memorizing tables. If that's how you want to learn Russian grammar and the language, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's just that many find this quite an onerous task and they'd prefer something, much easier. And I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video. So we've seen already how to decline all the personal pronouns. Now it's time to look at how to decline nouns, and arguably this is more important because nouns are the ones that get affected by case the most. So we'll start off with the accusative case. Here's a task for you. How do you say I see her in Russian? Yes, я вижу is I see. Remember that the verb видеть is irregular. It changes the stem. Я вижу, I see. Now how would we say her? See, look, in English we say her and not she. In Russian we do the same. We need to change it. We need to use a case. It will be the accusative case. Я вижу ее. Ее, okay? Now what if we want to specify who this she is? Let's say we want to say, I see mum. That will be Я вижу мама. Or would it? No, of course it wouldn't, because mama is in the nominative case. It is as if mama is the subject, but it isn't. Mama here is the object. She's being seen by me. Therefore, we need to decline mama. We need to change it into the accusative case. And that will be маму. Я вижу маму. Okay, that is now correct. As you can see, mama has become mamu. In other words, any noun in Russian that ends in a, it will change to u in the accusative case. Let's take a look at another example. Это станция. Это станция. This is a or this is the station. Станция is the word for station, new bit of vocab. Now, how do we say I see it? So, I see the station. Yes, it will be я вижу again, and how would we say it? It would actually be ее. Yes, we say that we see her. Remember that станция is feminine, so the station is a she. Never ever use the pronoun it in Russian when you want to talk about nouns. All nouns have a gender, remember, so you have to specify that gender. Я вижу ее, I see her. Yes, just get used to that. Now, if we want to specify what we're seeing, so the station, what do? Yes, we change станция in the accusative case. That will be я вижу станцию. Я вижу станцию. I see the station. So станция has changed to станцию. Yes, the ya ending has now become a u. That is the main rule for changing nouns in the accusative case. So to summarize, for feminine nouns ending in a, we change that ending to an u, and for any nouns ending in ya, that changes to a u. One more rule is that for feminine nouns ending in a soft sign, you don't need to do anything. There are a few feminine nouns ending in a soft sign out there, for example, площадь, which means a square. Я вижу площадь. And this is not a geometric shape, this is a square outside on the street, like the red square, for example. Я вижу площадь. I see the square. We haven't changed anything here. What about masculine and neuter nouns? Well, this is where the accusative case is actually very peculiar and special. When you have a masculine or neuter noun that you're about to decline, you first of all have to decide, is this noun animate or inanimate? In other words, is it alive or not? Is this noun that you want to decline a who or is it a what? Quite strange, yes. Now, for masculine and neuter nouns which are inanimate, so not alive, you don't need to do anything. You keep it as it is. For animate nouns that end in a or ya, so usually this is just names. Many Russian names, male names, they end in a or ya. So this rule really only applies to names. Here you follow the same principle as for feminine nouns. And lastly, any nouns that end in a consonant, you just add on a. Okay? Let's take a look at a few examples. So here's Moscow. If we want to give our opinion on Moscow, well, we could say Я люблю Москву. Я люблю Москву. Remember, люблю is I love. Again, we have an irregular verb here. And it's Москву, because Moskva, remember, is the nominative form, as if it's the subject. The a changes to an o. The stress remains the same. Я люблю Москву. Okay, now what about this present here? Someone might ask you the question, Хочешь подарок? Хочешь подарок? Remember, we learned the word present in lesson 35. So you'll notice here that we don't have a pronoun, and this is common in questions in Russian. When someone asks you a question, very often they'll leave out the pronoun because we can tell from the conjugation that ешь is referring to that ты, you. So do you want a present? Хочешь, to want, is always followed with the accusative because the подарок is the object. Or we could say something like видишь этот подарок? Do you see this present? Again, этот подарок. Remember, we're not changing anything here because подарок is inanimate. That's it. If it's a what and it's not a who, then you don't need to worry at all. Just keep it as it is. Видишь этот подарок? You can then say, for example, да, я вижу этот подарок. And then whoever is offering you this present might say, это тебе. Это тебе. They're using the dative case here. Why not the accusative? Well, this present is kind of like for you, so it's being given to you. Remember that the dative case always conveys this notion of something being given or transferred to something or someone. You just have to remember this. Now, a question might arise. Do we say друг in the accusative or друга in the accusative? Of course it's друга. We have to add on the a to the consonant ending g because your friend is alive, of course. I'm about to show you a diagram that might help you decide what to do when you have a noun that you need to decline in the accusative case. If this is going to confuse you or overwhelm you, don't look at this, don't watch it, skip it, that's fine. However, for some of you this might actually be quite useful. So the first question that you ask, is the noun animate? Yes or no? If it isn't, then you're lucky, you don't really need to do much. Next question, is the noun feminine? If it is, then yes, you're going to have to use the declension of a to o and ya to yo. Soft sign stays the same. If it is not feminine, so it's masculine or neuter, great, you don't need to do anything. However, if the noun is animate, it's a bit more complicated. Again, you decide, is it feminine or not? If it is, then you just use the same rules for declension as we've seen. If it isn't, if it's masculine or neuter, we have to look at the ending. There are a few options here. A or ya can be the ending, usually for names. It can end in a consonant, or what I haven't said yet is that it can end, again for names, in y or a soft sign. If it ends in a or ya, then we treat it as a feminine noun and we use the same rules. If it ends in a consonant, as you know, we add on a. If it ends in one of these two letters, we replace that letter with a ya. Again, this applies to names. You don't really need to be able to understand this all very well because, well, names are quite rare, really. You won't really need to decline names that often. But nevertheless, here's the diagram. Right, what about the dative case? I have to say this is much easier because we don't need to worry about something being a what or a who. By the way, interesting fact here. Anything that is a who is, of course, animals, people, anything that is alive, but not plants. And very often not microorganisms. That's interesting. Biologists will obviously disagree with us here, but this is just the Russian language. So plants are actually a what in Russian. Just be aware of that. Anyway, what does this phrase here mean? Я отвечаю. Я отвечаю. Yes, this means I answer, from the verb отвечать. How do we say I answer her? It will actually be я отвечаю ей and not ее. We just have to remember that every verb, as I did mention in lesson 34, has its own control, its own case that's associated with it. We just need to remember that отвечаю always comes with the dative case. Ей. Я отвечаю ей. Okay? It's kind of like I'm answering to her or to you and so on. Now again, what if we want to specify who this her is? Again, let's use mom as an example. Я отвечаю мама. No, that's in the nominative case. We need to use the dative case here. It will be Я отвечаю маме. Mame. That is now correct. I answer mum. So mama has become mame. A changes to ye. Another example, this time if it's masculine. Я отвечаю ему. I answer him, yes? Who could this he be? Maybe it's your friend. Я отвечаю друг? No, of course not. We need to decline друг in the dative case. Я отвечаю другу. Я отвечаю другу. There we go, that is now fine. So друг becomes другу. In other words, we're adding on u. So here are the rules then. For feminine nouns ending in a or ya, we change that to a ye. Feminine nouns ending in a soft sign, like we saw with площадь, we change the ending to an i. So it would be площади, yes. Now there's one exception here, is that if the feminine noun ends in ia, like we saw with stanция, that changes to ii. So it would be stancii. Okay, that's just an exception here. And there are many nouns in Russian that end in iya, as you'll see in just a moment. Now for masculine nouns that end in a consonant, you just add on o. There are also masculine nouns that end in the soft sign or y, as we've already seen. In this case, you change the ending to yu. And lastly, for neuter nouns, if they end in or, you change that ending to an o. If they end in ye, then you change that ending to a yu. So many rules. Now don't memorize this if you don't want to. There's no need. You can write this down or you can take a screenshot. That's fine. There's no need to just make a picture of this and then imprint that picture in your head. No need. So a few examples. Улица. What would that be in the dative case? Right. Well, улица, ending, feminine, changes to a ye. You can have your rules in front of you on a piece of paper or wherever. You'll see a word, you can look on that piece of paper, see what the rule is, and then you'll decline it yourself. Улица becomes улице. What about город? Yes, consonant, masculine, городу. What about поле? Поле is a field, remember. Ye, neuter, changes to полю. Яблоко is an apple. Яблоко ends in or. even though we're not stressing the or, it still ends in or. Яблоко becomes, yes, яблоко. What about аптека? What is an apteka, by the way? Yes, it's a pharmacy, great. It would be, yes, аптеке. What about my name, Ivan? I'm masculine, so it would be Ivano. Yes, correct. Станция. Remember, the iya is an exception. We get станции. Some more examples. Here's this Russian word. Информация. Информация. What do you think this means? Of course, it's information, and this is what I mean. There are so many Russian words that end in ция, and this is pretty much the equivalent of shun. So take any English word that ends in shun, keep the stem, and just change the shun to a ция. Информация. Медитация is meditation. Конформация, conformation, and so on and so on. This works most of the time. There are some exceptions though. What would that be in the dative case? Информации. Информации. Here's this Russian name, Sergei. Yeah, that changes to a U. Sergeyu. Vladimir, another name. Yes, Vladimiru. Consonant, we add on the U. Here's a feminine name, Yelena. A changes to what letter? Yes, you got it. Ye. Yelena, Yelene in the dative. Человек. Who is this? Yes, this is a person. We have a consonant here, so человеку. Друг, your friend. If we want to give something to our friend or answer to our friend, we will say другу. Другу. Now here I'm obviously stressing the or at the end just to emphasize what the ending is. Please remember though that the stress remains the same. Другу. Вода is, yes, water. What do we do here? A changes to ye, воде. Now again, you don't have to do this all off the top of your head for now. It's perfectly fine if you have all the rules written down somewhere and then you just look at the rules and then apply them. For now, that's perfectly fine. This is what I mean with this method. You don't need to memorize those rules. You don't need to have that table imprinted, as I say, in your head. You can have them in front of you for now. That's fine. As we go through these examples, I hope that you're stopping the video, thinking about it and deciding what the declension is. Great if you are. That's what you should be doing. You'll get loads of them wrong straight away. You won't be able to do it quickly, and that's fine. We're not after speed for now. Speed will come with time. No one's rushing here. No one's making you learn Russian just like that. You start off in this way, and then you'll notice that eventually, over time, you won't need the table anymore, and you'll be doing all these declensions quicker and quicker. I'll tell you more, you'll get to that point where you'll start doing it automatically because you'll feel that this is the natural way. It will sound correct to you, to the ear, to change, for example, улица to улицу in the accusative case, or улица to улице in the dative case. You will do it naturally. That's what we mean. You don't need to have that table memorized in your head. You can have it in front of you for now, and just with time, with practice, and loads of practice, you will just naturally do it. So first of all, you might be doing these exercises in this video by pausing it. Great. Then with time, as you get better, you won't need to pause the video and you'll do these declensions as we go along. I'll then give you some other nouns, or you can even just go to any dictionary, find the first noun, and do the declension yourself. In fact, every time you learn a new noun in Russian, what you should do then is that you should say, right, okay, I need to now decline this noun. So every time you have a new piece of vocab, you then need to go through all the declensions. For now, we've only learned 2 cases. Well, then after we've learned the rest, you need to then go through all of them. And that's how you'll get better at it. That is what I mean. So let's have a go again. This time, remember, we're now in the accusative case, so the rules are different. To avoid confusion, you do them separately, the accusative and dative, and then gradually you start blending them together and bringing them in and doing 2 at a time, okay? Just remember, practice is key. And also, crucial point, say it out loud. I say this so many times, out loud, otherwise you won't really improve. Anyway, here we go. Город. Consonant stays the same in the accusative case. Город. Я вижу город. All right? Поле. Yes, it stays the same. Поле. Яблоко. Яблоко. Again, город, поле, яблоко, they're all inanimate and they're all not feminine, so we don't need to worry about declining them properly. Аптека. Now watch out here. A goes to O. Аптеку. My name again, Ivan. Yes, I'm alive, remember? So, Ivana. Ivana. Станция. Station. Станцию. Станцию. Okay. Информация. Я goes to what letter? Yes, you. Информацию. Сергей. Сергея. Владимир. Владимира. Елена. Елену. Человек. Человека. Друг. Друга. Вода. Воду. Okay, just keep going through this, all right? Now, an even better way to practice this is to use verbs. You take a verb and then you add on all these declensions in the necessary case. So here are some verbs that always take the accusative. As we've seen, видеть. Я вижу, remember. And then whatever you see will be in the accusative case. Любить, to love. Я люблю, ты любишь, remember. Знать is to know. So if you know as in you're acquainted with something or someone, you will use the accusative case. Я знаю тебя. Я знаю улицу. Я знаю станцию. Okay? Спрашивать is to ask. Again, you will use the accusative case here. All the motion verbs that mean to go, so идти, ехать, ходить, ездить. And then if you're saying you're going somewhere, you're on your way, all the unidirectional verbs, you will use the preposition v. We will look at this in more detail very soon. Otherwise, you can check out lesson 27 and 28 on motion verbs if you're not sure. Here, again, you will use the accusative case. Просить is to request. Я прошу, remember. And хотеть, to want. So you can make phrases, you can make sentences using these verbs and then using the correct declension in the accusative case. That is a great way to practice. What about verbs that take the dative? Well, for example, as we've seen, отвечать, to answer, or помогать, this means to help. You always help to someone, okay? Я помогаю тебе. Я помогаю маме, okay? Говорить or сказать. Говорить is just the imperfective, сказать is perfective, and that's to say or to tell. Again, the dative. Звонить, this is to call by telephone. Again, you call someone in the dative. Звонить тебе, звонить ему, звонить другу. Okay? And finally, we have a phrase нужно, and that means to have to or must. We've seen this already when we looked at modal verbs. Мне нужно, I need. Тебе нужно. Маме нужно. Mom has to. Другу нужно. My friend needs to, and so on, okay? Your homework now is just to practice this, both in the accusative and dative case. You start, as I said, with just the nouns, and then you use sentences using the verbs we've just seen, and then you decline them, and then you're going to form these phrases. Now, you can always email us if you have any questions at all, if you'd like anything checked, if you want to confirm anything, that's perfectly fine. Now, I hope this was useful. Again, any questions, email or in the comments. Likewise with any feedback. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.